Thanks for tuning in to Indian Trades. Right there is a welcome sight to many of us who love the artifacts of the North American Indian. What's different about this is a really cool idea. I'm going to show you something that I really don't have a lot of these on film at all. And to give you a close-up, if you're seeing anything different, you should. Because if you know these artifacts I've been showing you from Eastern North Carolina, these are really different because they're completely different material. This is a variated material. No real rhyolite, you're not looking at it, and no quartz, which is the most common in North Carolina. I mean, my whole box is full of rhyolites and quartz. Not these. These come from, of course, you'll see one of these top bins here. My tackle box of dreams, my points. That box, and then this one down here. I left a couple pieces that were the brownish rhyolite in there, which we're not going to look at. But all these points here, if we can get a good focus on it, are variegated material. This really different. Can't put a thumb on it. Maybe you guys can. So I'll give you a close-up of those. But the common stuff in North Carolina, of course, is the quartz. Quartz, quartz, quartz. Indeed. And the rhyolite. Man alive. They make some rhyolite. This is all rhyolite. But the variated, and I have more, because there's a lot of materials, as you can see. This is variegated stuff, not rhyolite. So let's take a look at it for that sake, and just go through this stuff. If I can get it in, my other video that I tried to make of this stuff cut out. So anyway, let's take this bottom group. One bin is in the bottom half here, if I can stop throwing you guys around in your eyes. And that's from the nickel down is one bin, and then the upper bin is up here. So those are actually more important to me when I get my hand out of the way than these. But they're all really important. I don't mean it that way. You have to figure out a way you categorize it yourself. Check this material out. Not a whole lot to say about it, but I just wanted to show you rockhounds, and you guys really liked it. The more types of material, they could make work whatever they really wanted to make work, if it would do anything for them, and it was fine with them, as long as it held a point. But definitely, if you look closely at this stuff, and I'll try to get the focus and keep it still, not rhyolite. There could be some blends of rhyolite in there, but I doubt it, because rhyolite is not indigenous to right here. I'm thinking that a lot of this stone here, they found right here, and then it pulled it out of the ground here, and it was sort of indigenous. This is actually a purplish stone if it's wet. But look at the different contrasts here, and I've got to keep my time so it doesn't cut me off again. These are just great points that I wanted to keep just because of some of the uniqueness. They're not all, perfect balanced specimens, and out of this variegated material, I don't think they could make it that way all the time. Look at that. Flakes of different color in this rock. Some people have made some shout outs that just really love rock and appreciate me just giving a close-up of the different materials here in Eastern North Carolina. If my tongue doesn't get twisted, it's my pleasure. This one, I don't think my camera's doing the same thing my eye does. Our eyes are awesome. This piece is actually a brownish reddish, and this one is a charcoal gray, so I don't know. Here's a piece from Notchville that I've just always loved. Sometimes you don't even know why. It just fits the bill, Anyway, bottom half here was one of the bins of really different types of materials. Now let's check the top. My time seems like it's bleeding away with me here, and I always want to take my time to show you the rock, but not too much. That was a great point, found it at Saponi. You'll never forget the places you find them. But remember the material as we go along here, because it's definitely what I think is indigenous to Eastern North Carolina. The rhyolite I know is not. The quartz I know is, definitely. But this stuff I think also is. Don't think this stuff was traded in, but I mean, it's just a theory. Some great pieces here. And remember the material as I go by. I mean, I know where I found all these. I won't jabber too much about it. They were a blessing. As you can see, they had to go in a status where I get them in a display sometime. Look at this piece from the Archaic. And the materials really struck me. I'd keep them if there's a vein of quartz or something through it that made it unique. I think the points with the longer flat bases, such as even this little one, are woodland points, but I don't know. They're probably late Archaic or what have you. Here's a point from Crosslands. I've always loved it just because of its shape. And as we finish out, look at these three. And look at the material. This is thin, one of the first points I found at the Archaic. But variating material. And this one was one of the very first ones I found in Site 7. I call Stillwater, just something I really loved. Just was a great point to me. Look at the material in this. It's sort of a greenish, and this is lending to a little bit smoother, but not really. Base is completely finished, sharp as can be. Love it. Anyway, that's a good show of it. Those are the top shelf ones. This material is special and different, so that's how I categorize it. It's just varying material here in Eastern North Carolina. And I just want to thank you for tuning into Indian Trace. That's what it's all about.